And most importantly, yes, enjoy the flight. Once again, we're very happy with Sachin to be able to share this amazing story, success story with you guys. So enjoy, and thanks for joining. For the ones who've just joined the webinar, our topic today obviously will be about talent management and innovation. And I think you know it, but in a world where everything is going faster and faster, these two concepts are becoming really key for industry leaders. And actually, when the two meet, you will see that magic happens, and Sachin actually will let us know how. So we're going to be talking about employee engagement, entrepreneurship, open innovation, time to market. And maybe before we go further, I think with Sachin, we're really interested in knowing why you joined the webinar today. Is it more for the talent management, HR side of the talk, or is it more for the innovation side? So there should be a little poll that we will activate, and we will, yeah, let you tell us why you're actually joining the call today, joining the webinar. Okay, obviously you can answer both, which to me would be the right answer. Okay, just a few more seconds so that you can let us know whether you connected for talent management, innovation management, or the two. Okay, great. I can see that it's actually quite balanced. Actually, we had about 1/3 voting for talent management, another third voting for innovation management, and the last for both. So yeah, great. Happy to engage with you guys. The truth is that actually both would be the perfect answer for us, because when talent management and innovation management really meet and really synergize, I think this is where companies get the most value. And hopefully this is what we will demonstrate with Sachin. So I'm very happy to be welcoming Sachin today. Maybe just a few words about us. I am Charles Tu, so I am the CEO and the co-founder of Agorize. Our topic today, we've talked about it, is talent management and innovation. And I am the CEO of Agorize. We're an open innovation startup. There is 100 people working for us. We're based in Paris, but we also have offices in Asia and in North America. And for the last 10 years, we've been working with large organizations to really help them to leverage their talent and to be more innovative. And actually, I have to say that we've launched, and through our software, our clients have operated hundreds of programs. And I'm really, really proud today to be able to be sharing with you one of the most successful that we ever had. And actually, it is Sachin, Global Talent Management Director from PepsiCo, who will be telling the story. And you will see it's an amazing one. It's a story about talent management, about innovation, about entrepreneurship, about letting employees innovate even faster and better than before. Further explanation from me. Sachin, I'm handing the floor to you. Can you share with us these amazing stories of yours?
Thanks, Charles. Thanks for the kind introduction, and very happy and delighted to be here to be sharing one of our success stories along with Agorize team. So thanks everyone for joining. I see there are around 70 participants now. Thanks for joining. I'm Sachin. I'm part of a global talent management team, and I lead culture and engagement for PepsiCo globally. So before we start the story, just a few things about PepsiCo. Most of you may already know it. We are a $67 billion organization with 22 mega brands. We are present in 200 countries or territories, and we have more than 260,000 employees. We are enjoyed by consumers 1 billion times every day. That's what we are. Apart from the $22 billion brands that I mentioned on the last slide, we also have 30 more brands which are in the range of 250 million to 1 billion. And I'm sure on this slide you may see one of your favorite brands, or you may be surprised to see another brand which you'd never thought is PepsiCo. My favorite brand obviously is Gatorade, but I'm sure each one of you has your own favorite brand. This is who we are, with a strong portfolio of different brands in both foods and beverages. With that said, you may have also read we had an iconic CEO, Indra Nooyi, who retired, and therefore we had a new leadership team in place in late 2018. And as the new leadership team started thinking about the next chapter of PepsiCo, how do you build upon already the great work that Indra and team had done? We defined, or the leadership team came together to define a strategy document which we termed as Winning with Purpose, whereby our mission is to create more smiles with every sip and every bite. We want to be a global leader in convenient foods and beverages, and we have to do it through the PepsiCo way. And what does PepsiCo way mean? It means we live these 7 behaviors at the bottom every day. Each of our employees would live these behaviors to make PepsiCo faster, stronger, and better, and thereby living or achieving our strategy, which we call Winning with Purpose, to ensure we are winning in the marketplace with purpose by being faster, stronger, better. So with that strategy, as it was defined late 2018, early 2019, the big challenge in front of the HR team or the talent management team was really, how do we drive this cultural transformation while we take the entire organization through? We wanted to make PepsiCo faster, stronger, better, as you saw on the last slide. But how do we co-design this transformation journey? Any such journey, if it is top-down or headquarter-driven, would take ages and years to drive. But we want to be faster, so we wanted to transform faster. And therefore, what better way than to co-design this with our employees? With that in mind, we said, okay, what do we do? To tell you what we did, I'm just taking a step back to define what talent management means. In most organizations, both these things put together is called talent management, whether what I'm showing here as talent management or org design or org development. Now, we divide in PepsiCo that into two, where we say talent management is all about focusing on the few to ensure leadership pipeline is always in place. Succession planning is in place. We are identifying hypos, developing them to ensure that there is no leadership vacuum at any point in time in the organization. That's where you focus on the few, selected few. You obviously identify hypos through various assessments, scientific tools, and then focus on them. And the other part, which we call org development, is focus on many, which is extremely important because it's about the culture, it's about the structure, it's about the performance management, it's about the efficiency of the organization. So how do you make sure that you focus on few and you also focus on many? Now, given the challenge that I defined on the last slide with all of you, we knew that this is not something that we can handle through talent management only, because then it will be top down. We have to involve the many, and therefore we came up with this idea of crowdsourcing, which we call, how do we leverage the power of many? And that's why we launched this challenge along with the Agorize team, which we call the next big idea. You can see on the visual, it has global monuments coming together, which reflects the global nature of the challenge. It is obviously driving, PepsiCo in the PepsiCo way. So that's a visual to define what we did. Now, a little bit more detail, like what is this next big idea that Sachin is talking about? This is an online business innovation game to start with, and thereafter it goes into offline mechanism, and I'll talk about it. But the first phase or the place where we partnered with the Agorize team is online challenge, where we implemented certain principles to say it will be anonymous. So the teams would be formed not because I know someone, I'm a friend of Charles, so I'll put Charles in my team, versus it will be more about it'll be more about an skill set. So based on the skills that you have, you will be selected or you will be partnering in a team, and therefore anonymous. It will be cross-functional and cross-sector. Sectors are our geographies, different geographies that we have, like LATAM or Asia Pac or Europe. It will be cross-sector, and there'll be 7 to 8 weeks of the online gaming. Now, what did we ask our employees? We asked our employees that you have to provide us or develop an idea which can make PepsiCo faster, stronger, and better in 3 categories. Either you tell us an idea which takes sustainability or the purpose part of PepsiCo's Winning with Purpose to the next level. How can we be more sustainable as an organization? When we call sustainability, it's about environment sustainability, and how do we be more conscious towards the communities and the planet that we are on. How do we evolve our product, any new product? And third, how do we transform the way we work? Maybe there is something new that we can do in the way we work. So those are the 3 areas that teams come together. Now, employees who go on the platform can have 3 kind of roles. One is entrepreneur, where you can initiate an idea. You can be the originator of an idea. You can be an expert, where you can join, you like an idea, it's not yours, but you want to work on it. You can join the entrepreneur as an expert, displaying your skill set, and the entrepreneur, based on the skill set that he or she needs, would select you in a team, so you can collaborate with the entrepreneur to develop the idea further. Or you could be an investor, where you can invest virtual money that we provide to the participants to really vote or really help us understand which is the top idea. Then there are some timelines which I'll not bore you with. Timelines can always change in any challenge. But evaluation, how did we kind of select them? So because of the investors' investment, we select top 20. So the top 20 is decided by all the employees who are on the platform. They invest in different ideas, and based on that, we see the ideas which have most amount of investment, they get to be part of top 20. Thereafter, we have a set of jury members. We had, in fact, 30 jury members this year, senior leaders who voted on these ideas to thereafter help us understand who are the top 3. And then that the top 3 thereafter go ahead and make a pitch in front of our top 200 leaders in PepsiCo. And then the top 200 leaders vote to select a winner. So that's really, the challenge in a nutshell. Now, little more details on it, just to help you understand the platform. Now, Agorize team did an outstanding job on the platform. So you can see the platform looks like PepsiCo. This is obviously extremely engaging and intuitive design, where there was not much change management required, but all the principles that I spoke about, whether it's anonymity, whether it's encouraging participation through live leaderboards, targeted comms, advanced reporting for us at the back end, or chatting directly with the team, or different ways of engaging, whether it's like investing or joining, all that was created on the platform by Agorize team to, one, ensure all the principles that we defined are taken care of, and second, it engages all employees consistently. So with those 2 principles, the platform was designed, and these are real visuals from the platform that Agorize team helped us design. Now, this year, we have still not done our final event. Our final event is next month, early next month. We are having the final event. But just to tell you a few numbers, we had 40% more participation this year as compared to 2019, even though we were running the challenge in times of COVID. We had similar ideas. The jury members vote on the criteria mentioned here: overall concept, feasibility, business attractiveness, and strategic fit. And thereafter, once these top 3 were finalized, they are now working along with a coach where they are developing their pitches, which would be then pitched in the November event to the top 200 leaders. This time, the event would be virtual. In past, or in 2019, we had a physical event where everyone came together and we were able to, or the teams were able to pitch their ideas to the top 200 leaders. So that's really what we did. Now, just to take a step back, because we have not completed 2020 right now, just to define what did we achieve from 2019 challenge and why did we run it again. So I have divided that impact in three categories: business impact, which I'll probably talk a little more about in the next slide. But the two other impact that we had, cultural impact and the talent impact. And cultural impact, we surveyed the top 20 teams that we had, and two-thirds of them told us that it has already impacted the way we work on innovation. The way we do innovation in PepsiCo has already changed after the first year of this global platform. And there are some proofs that I'll talk about. On talent, I think we were able to identify and find some hidden gems. We were able to identify a set of future leaders through this challenge, which we would have never known of. These were employees or leaders coming together at different levels in different geographies and different, our businesses, different functions, who came together, collaborated together to create an idea, and then were able to present it in front of the top 200 leaders of the organization. So we were delighted with the talent that we found out with this challenge. And on the top of it, everyone had fun. We again asked most of the participants, one thing that you would define next big idea with. And the overwhelming response was fun. It was a fun event where everyone felt energized, everyone felt engaged, and PepsiCo got what they wanted. We got ideas, we got talent, and we moved our culture towards the PepsiCo way that we wanted to. Now, again, the business impact that I was speaking about, Driftwell, and some of you who are following PepsiCo may have seen us announcing a new product earlier this month. And this product was the winner idea from last year. Last year, this product or this concept, it was called, I think, Restful Beverage in the internal competition. But the concept and the product design was done by the winning team. This was the winning idea, which we declared as a winner from the Next Big Idea 2019 in December last year. And within no time, within less than 9 months or close to 9 months, the teams were able to work with the winning team along with their sponsor and leadership support were able to work with the R&D teams and were able to announce a launch of this product later this year in North America. How good it is. A product which was ideated by employees from across the globe we were able to launch that within 9 months. That is what I said, that we are already changing the way innovation happens in PepsiCo. Any product of this scale and size would at least take 2 years, if not more, in any organization. And then here we are on the cusp of launching it within 9 months. That's outstanding result for any challenge or any intervention. My last slide before we get into fun conversation with Charles. I would say crowd is always intelligent. The power of many has to be leveraged, and how do we provide them a platform to help them shape our future is on us. If we provide the right platform, employees at large would shape our future, and I'm sure it will be in the right direction. Speed and scale of any intervention of this scale is, I would say, I have written here, is given with the technology. I'll add on with partners like Ecorize. It's given. We had, I think, 6 to 7 weeks to design the challenge and then put together the platform and everything and then launch it globally. We were able to do that, with the help of technology of the day and obviously partners like Ecorize. To find hidden talent, you have to engage everyone. If you don't engage employees, then how do you find hidden talent? And again, this platform or this intervention told us that we have to engage with more and more of our employee base in different ways to really identify the hidden gems. And last but not the least, sometimes we believe talent and business strategies are different. I firmly believe they are same and they have to be aligned. And when they align, like they aligned in the Next Big Idea, they create magic, like we did in Next Big Idea. So that's it from me, telling you a story in a quick, short fashion. We also have a video which I'll show you, which speaks, which is about our participants from last year, we created this video to launch our 2020 challenge. This is participants from last year who are recommending or giving some advice to new participants. So over to the Agorize team for the video.
Since this is the next big idea, you really have to think outside of the big box.
State a clear problem that you want to solve, and remember that a simple and more unusual idea is stronger than a generic one.
When refining your idea, consider broad perspectives by including a diverse team across different regions, functions, and seniority levels.
Develop your creative ideas to make PepsiCo better. Spend time working on the project with lots of details on how to make the project viable.
Have a charismatic team full of energy to make people believe in your idea.
You want to think about concepts that could actually be implemented and consider PepsiCo's strategic goals when you're crafting your idea.
Think of the global aspect of your idea, how we can apply it worldwide, then market your idea, and market it some more.
I found it was useful to have regular team meetings and designate a team leader to help with task assignment.
Don't be afraid. Dream and create.
And if you make it to the final, there's no pressure to win. Enjoy it.
Thank you for sharing this story with us. Actually, I'm always amazed when you're saying it like this. It seems so simple and natural to let your employees, co-innovate, and like you said, to leverage the power of the many. And like we've seen in the video, they really seem to enjoy that a lot. So you're bringing fun, you're bringing engagement, motivation, business. It really is a success story. But along the way, I'm sure that you also had to overcome many hurdles and challenges. What were they? Can you share that with us too?
Yeah, no, Charles, any intervention of this scale and size would have its own set of challenges, right? So I consider challenges in two areas, one technology and one culture, right? Technology, it's getting easier by the day as technology improves, but launching a challenge in so many different geographies together is always a challenge. There are different technical requirements. There are different firewall issues, national firewalls versus PepsiCo and things like that. But I would say in that your team and our internal IT team were able to work together and resolve most of them, whitelisting and things like that. That's always a thing to watch out for. But it's like I said, it's getting easier. It's getting better with every passing year because technology is improving. The second challenge, which is more cultural, is about nervousness. What kind of ideas would we get? What kind of response would we get? Would we even get any idea worth its salt? Would employees be able to do that? Would people take on this extra effort, which is beyond their job, right? This is beyond their job to help PepsiCo define, put in effort along with a team which may be virtual in nature because it's a cross-geography team. Would they do that? So those were all cultural challenges and issues that we faced as we started debating, discussing. We were fortunate. We had leadership buy-in at the very top in terms of our CEO being committed to it. But we had to have those conversations with different leaders, different geographies to ensure we are addressing those concerns or we are having a dialogue around them to initiate it. But I think the first year is always like that in any intervention that you design. The second year was outstanding because everyone knew the benefit from first year. Everyone had seen it. So we actually launched second year, which was this year, on an earlier timeline and much more crashed timeline because we wanted to launch it, even during COVID, we wanted to focus energies of our teams towards future. And therefore we launched it and it was much easier, I would say, once they had seen the seen the first year, there was no convincing required for anyone.
Okay, yeah, amazing. We could feel the energy from the participants, and I think this really gave the motivation to more people. And we've seen it. You talked about it. It was like plus 49, plus 45% participants the second year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We had, even though it was during COVID, and I was cautious at the start. I didn't know whether we'll get participation or not, but we got 40% more participation than last year, which goes on to tell you that there is word of mouth spreading. There is more willingness, or people are waiting for this challenge to happen every year, because there is word of mouth spreading. People who experienced it last year were delighted, and therefore they brought in their friends this year, and I'm sure it will keep on growing in years to come.
Okay, great, awesome. We actually have received a question from Diane. Thank you for sending questions. Please do so. We're here to answer them with Sachin. The question, Sachin, is about intellectual property. How are you handling this topic during the Next Big Idea program?
Yeah, so obviously we work with our legal team on such issues. Any idea that gets generated through the platform or through the intervention is PepsiCo's property. It's PepsiCo's intellectual property, and therefore that's the requirement. So as you enter the challenge, you as an employee, you know that if there is an idea that you get out, or you develop an idea, that's PepsiCo's property. So that's how we handle it. Obviously, like I have not shared any ideas apart from Driftwell, which is already now a public domain. All ideas or all things that are there on the platform, we guard. And we have worked with Agori's team with right protection, right security protocols to ensure these ideas are guarded.
Okay, and I'm sure it is also, and it goes, I will go to another question that we have received. It's also, I think, closely linked to the fact that there's the idea and the ideation process for sure, but you are also talking about the close work that is required to work with your R&D people so that the product can really, come to life. And actually, we have another very good question from Nicolas about how are you actually triggering the rollout of the winning idea? How are you doing it? Can you elaborate on that question a little bit, Sachin, please?
Yeah, no, PepsiCo has a very well defined innovation pipeline, right? And there are always number of ideas in a hopper or going through the process. Now, what happens in a intervention like this? This idea through the intervention was selected as the top idea, right? So it got visibility from all the senior leaders. Everyone knew or everyone loved that idea. And therefore, in the innovation cycle, it got accelerated. The sponsors, the team put in extra energy, the sponsors put in extra energy, and obviously it was a winning idea, and therefore it got the focus of the organization. And everyone rallied around it to make sure that the idea can be pushed to the market as soon as possible. Now, any organization of size of PepsiCo or scale of PepsiCo requires these interventions to accelerate something, and that's what Next Big Idea did. The R&D teams or the innovation teams followed all the protocols, everything that they do, but there was right focus and right sponsorship on the idea to accelerate the journey, I would say, and therefore push it into the market earlier than what you would have normally done.
Okay, yeah, very interesting. And I was actually, wondering about how do you compare to the usual way that you innovate at PepsiCo? Have you measured maybe not yet the impact on the market itself, because it's the launch is it's currently being done, but in terms of market fit, in terms of time to market, how can you compare to what you were usually doing at PepsiCo?
Yeah, it's still not launched. Obviously, it's test marketed, but not launched fully. So don't have any numbers about how the product is doing. That when it goes to the market, we'll see the feedback. But I would say this, that in time to market, typically, globally, if you look at standards, it's 24 months or more than that, that you take from ideation to market. And in this product or in this intervention, we were able to do it in 9 months. So that's what I think was the biggest shift or the biggest business impact, that we can do innovations in shorter time. And I'm sure the teams are learning through it. Once you have done it once, next time you do an innovation, you do it faster. And that's the whole concept of making PepsiCo's faster, stronger, better.
Okay, yeah, very interesting. And actually, yeah, the comparison is really showing how incredible the results were for this new product of yours. Another good question about the engagement of your employees since you launched the program, and I think you've had the time to, maybe get measures or KPIs around it, especially in the current, period of COVID, where every company is really taking action, paying attention of employee motivation, the sense of belonging when everyone is working from home, and the fact that it's not always that easy to do remote collaboration. Have you measured these topics, and how can you let us grasp the impact it had on your employees?
Yeah, no, so we run our annual engagement survey every September. And I can tell you September 2020 versus September 2019. Now, I would not say that Next Big Idea was the only intervention that we did or was the only thing that impacted our score. There are multiple interventions in an organization of size of PepsiCo. So I don't know how much to attribute it directly to Next Big Idea, but it has played a key role or a central role in what we did. So I'll give you two numbers. One, the PepsiCo way, the new set of behaviors that I showcased on the slide. Like I said, we defined them properly, or we defined that in early 2019. So 2019, when we did our survey, people actually didn't know much about them, or we asked them a question about, do you think we have implemented the PepsiCo way in real sense? And obviously, a lot of them said no, understandably, because it was the first year and we were still even communicating what is PepsiCo way. This year, when we asked the same question 1 year later, 23% more responses we got. So 23% on that question of have we implemented or not. So there was a jump of 23% employees believing that we have implemented the PepsiCo way. And one of the factors or one of the things that they see also in implementation is the Next Big Idea, because it's directly connected to how you live the behaviors. So that's one, culture transformation KPI or objective that we measure, and we are delighted that we are moving ahead on that journey. The second one is employee engagement, like you said. Our employee engagement also this year is +6 from last year. So we have improved our employee engagement by +6 or +7, not remembering the number exactly, but it's either +6 or +7. We've improved it. Now, again, did we only do Next Big Idea, or there were other interventions? Yes, there were other interventions, but I'm sure Next Big Idea again played a central role in our journey of engaging employees better. So I would say +7 on engagement, +20 or 23 on implementing the PepsiCo way. Those are beautiful numbers to define or track the journey. And Next Big Idea, like I said, played a central key role in our entire journey.
Yes, clearly. And from what I can see, you're really creating a virtuous circle here. The more the program is famous and known internally, the more people will participate. The more people participate, the more they feel engaged. They discover, the PepsiCo way, and they feel a part of it. And then you really, bear the fruit with new products launched on the market. And this brings me to another question from Diane, who's asking about the participation rate and how did you engage the whole team? And I think, if I'm correct, Diane, your question is how many out of the people that were reached out and the entire PepsiCo staff, how many of them did really participate, and how do you increase maybe that ratio about the awareness of the program and then the transformation participation rate?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. So this program is targeted towards our professional employees, right? And therefore, I would say our reach was to employees who have email IDs, which was around 75,000 employees across the globe. And our participation was around 11-12% of that. So not the participation that we want to rest at. It was, I think, like I said, it was 40% more than last year, which we are delighted about. But we would continue to drive more participation. Now, things to consider, even though it had the reach of 75,000 employees, things to consider is that it is an English-only intervention, because we want employees to be able to come and present to the senior leaders in English, because the language of business is English, right, at PepsiCo. So therefore, we are debating and deliberating how do we extend it in different languages, but do we still then provide coaching support at the end if your idea, is part of the top 3, then we provide you coaching support to be able to convert that into English and be able to present. Those are debates that we are having internally as we look at increasing the participation rate. But I will say that for the first 2 years, it's a pretty decent participation rate where we now are at around 12-13% participation rate.
Yeah, clearly, and being already above the 10% is actually really, really good. From the experience we have at Agorize working with all other organizations, being over the 10% is really good. It means that 1 out of 10 employee is actually jumping in. So it's really, really impressive.
And I would add on, this is also a challenge where you have to devote a substantial amount of time, right? So anyone who participates, they have to, on top of their normal day job, they have to invest considerable amount of time developing the idea, developing the pitch, and therefore it's not one of those surveys where you take 10%, like 10 minutes and you are done. It's substantial commitment, and therefore, like Charles said, 10% is a really good benchmark in that way.
Sure. And one question I'm having also that comes to mind is, how are you handling the expectations and the different agenda that, for example, middle managers may have? Like, they are in some ways letting their teams work on other topics than the topics they are already providing for them. So do you have a way to engage with these middle managers to make them also contribute and maybe, drive participation in the program?
Like, that's the beauty of the program, Charles, because it's reaching directly to the employees, and it's providing them a platform where they don't need permission from their manager or anyone to participate, right? So we are focusing on empowering the teams. Managers do take huge amount of pride. Like I've spoken to many managers whose team members were part of top 20 or top 3 or top 7 teams. And all of them I've spoken to, I was delighted, have taken huge amount of pride in the fact that their team member is part of that. So I'm like, in my head, that's not a challenge, or that's not a cultural challenge that we face at PepsiCo. At least managers are supportive, and it's a challenge, or it's an intervention which provides high visibility to the individual, to the team, to everyone. So everyone is supporting that way's better participation and yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's really great to hear. I think it shows the strengths of the collaborative culture that you have at PepsiCo. Also a feature that I was personally, I think it's a great feature that we actually kind of designed together, which is the investment feature. Maybe can you elaborate a little bit on this topic and let the audience here understand how it's working and how you can engage even more people through it?
Yeah, no, it's gamification of a different order, right? So what we did along with Agorize team, we designed the investment in 2 rounds. So you invest, you get a certain amount of dollar every employee. They can invest that in the ideas that they like. And then there is a ranking that, when the first round closes, there is a ranking that gets generated based on where you stand on the ranking. Or like if you have invested in the best idea, which was rank 1, you get some return. So you have a formula through which you get return. So you either lose your money or you make double of your money based on how the ranking of the idea is. So that's round 1. In round 2, we give them some extra money, extra amount of dollars that they can invest in. Plus, they have their return that they get from the first round, and then they invest it again. So a couple of rounds, and along with that round, you can imagine that teams are constantly revising or upgrading their ideas. So the teams are also getting constant feedback through the investment, and they are looking at the competition, and they are revising their ideas or upgrading their business plans or their ideas as they want to. After the second round of investment, we obviously close it and declare the top 20 comes out of that. But we also declare the best investors. So the top 3 investors that we have would have a chance to sit along with the top 200 leaders that we have in PepsiCo when the pitches are getting made. So they'll have an equal vote. They'll also vote along with the top 200 leaders to define the finalist. That way, the investors also, one, they are giving feedback through their voting or their investments, and the best of them also get a chance to rub shoulders with our senior leaders and be part of the final event. So that's how we engage investors and keep the engagement going.
Well, it is really great, and I think it's a perfect way also to really share the success and the different ideas that are offered by your employees, so that everyone, maybe for the first year they will be an investor, but year 2 they may think, okay, I will have an idea for the next edition, and they already prepare for it, right? Okay,
absolutely.
Great. Another very good question from Nicolas. Thank you for your questions, Nicolas, about frustration or disappointment management for the teams that will not make it into the final stages. How do you ensure that they still have an amazing experience, learning a lot, and that they don't feel too frustrated or disappointed?
Yeah, no, there is always disappointment if you don't win in any game, any challenge, any competition, right? But we believe that all the ideas that come through, they are all valuable. So we don't let any idea go. We share those ideas out with the names of the team. So we create a booklet which we call Top 20 booklet, where top 20 ideas we circulate extensively to the leadership team with the names and the pictures of all the participants, so that they get their moment in the sun. Second, all the other ideas, like 600 of them, we transfer them to different teams, different function leaders, different other teams, where they shift through the ideas, and there are other ideas which may not have made to top 20, but there's a relevant idea and should be taken forward. So those things are already happening. There are leaders and teams who are connecting based on what we circulate to the leadership later on. And there are many ideas which are work in progress as we speak. So we don't let any idea go. We don't, we obviously recognize everyone who has worked on ideas, and we ensure if the idea is picked up by anyone, they can connect with the team who was the initiator and have a conversation or involve them in the project as it's going forward.
Okay, yeah, very smart way of handling that part, I think. And another good question from Veronique. Thank you, Veronique. About have you maybe imagined that you could also open the platform externally, maybe to the innovative ecosystem that may be around PepsiCo, can be maybe startups or students? And I know that you also have, you're not running it directly, but a program with us for students that will then join PepsiCo in the graduate program, for example. They will discover the company. Maybe I can add another question on top of the one from Veronique, which is, have you opened or have you imagined that you could open the platform? Do you also feel an impact on the attractiveness of PepsiCo? Like, do you think that such a program may also help you, spread the word externally that PepsiCo is a very innovative company? And do you feel like it will attract more talent to you?
No, absolutely. I think all the people on the call, as they would have understood about this challenge, you would want to work for PepsiCo, right? So therefore, I believe it'll help us attract better talent in future, definitely, as we mature the program, as we market it well. In terms of external challenge, like Charles, you said, we already have a challenge with students. In our campus program, we run our program, it's a similar program. We call it Dare to Do More. Dare to Do More is the name of the program, where we challenge the students. We provide them a problem or a challenge, a problem statement, and we challenge all the students in different colleges who want to work for PepsiCo to come together and provide us a solution. It's a completely outside-in perspective because students always bring fresh thinking in. And it's tied to our campus program because the winners of that program, they also come and present to our leadership team. But the winners of that program get a offer from PepsiCo. Apart from other goodies, they get an offer to work at PepsiCo. So therefore, we are already attracting campus talent through a similar challenge, I would say. And as we market this program more, and as more people get to know about it, I'm sure even external talent would think about working at PepsiCo.
Yeah, perfect. And I think even the circle is complete because you had, I think, if I'm correct, one student who was, she was hired through the Dare to Do More program. Then she actually was onboarded at PepsiCo, of course. And I think she also participated in the Next Big Idea program, right?
Absolutely. Yes. those are fairy tale stories which happen, and we are delighted that we have layers of programs which the right talent can go through.
Sachin, maybe we're actually at the end of the conversation together. Could you maybe let us know what's coming next in terms of open innovation, talent management for you at PepsiCo? I'm sure you have many new also initiatives in the pipe.
Yeah, no, I would say open innovation. Now, Next Big Idea is a calendar event every year. So it's a yearly event. We'll have it every year. It's established. 2 cycles are already almost done. Like I said, the final event is left, but it'll be an annual event for us. So that's for certain. There are many other problem statements or many other ideas that we are dealing with right now, where we want to crowdsource idea from our employees, whether it is about how do we make processes simpler in PepsiCo. We ran that, another challenge which we called Process Shredder. We asked our employees, hey, which is the process which is stopping you from becoming faster, and therefore we can shred that process. So that's another thing that we did with our employees. But there is now a lot of buy-in for crowdsourcing in PepsiCo, and therefore there are lots of other challenges, whether cost saving, whether new marketing ideas, whether other areas which we want to put in a hopper and see if we can crowdsource from our employees. On talent management, we live in different times, right, Charles? So everyone is virtual. We are focused right now to define what's the next normal. No one knows it, but we are all trying to put our heads together to say what's the next normal. And in those times, whenever we get out of it, I believe we'll be much more virtual than physical. So virtual offices, virtual teams. How do we maintain and drive our culture in times when we are virtual is another area that we are all deeply thinking about. And there are some learnings from Next Big Idea. There are some learnings from other things that we may have done this year. But how do we drive the culture of an organization when some of us may only meet on Zoom and never meet in physical as we used to before COVID? So those are I think things that are on our mind from talent management perspective, to say how do we drive culture and how do we maintain our culture.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sure, yeah, very accurate and for sure very important in the current context. It also comes down to the topic of the challenge for your employees. You let us know that the 3 main topics where sustainability, product portfolio, work transformation, and this is really into the work transformation space. So it may also maybe change the breakdown of the categories in which the employees will, send ideas to you. And do you have any maybe insight on this? Maybe the breakdown that you had in the past?
Yeah, no, we actually had, I would say, equivalent number of ideas in each category. There are obviously ideas which intersect both. So like there would be a product idea which would also have sustainability built into it, right? Or there may be a work idea which also has sustainability built into it, new way of working, but it's more, it also reduces carbon footprint. So there is always intersection of ideas, but I would say our employees have equivalent energy on three categories, whether it's sustainability, whether it's new product portfolio, or whether it's work transformation. So we got tremendous ideas in each of those three areas, always, even this year. So yeah.
So yeah, it's quite balanced for now, and then of course you have ideas that are across several categories, like you said, and I'm sure it may maybe change with the current situation that people will really get into work transformation, the work transformation category, because we have so many tentatives around us that come to us as inspiration, and I think given the quality and the strength of the collaborative culture that you guys have, it may be something that people will participate more in this category. I think in the future. Okay, well, it's been really, really interesting, talking together, Sachin. Not sure if you guys in the audience have any more questions for us. Don't be shy. There is still a little bit of time, and we can still answer to you if you have more questions. Maybe, Sachin, it's interesting as a conclusion to really be able to see through your testimony how innovation, HR, usually they are really two separate topics, and talent and innovation also. We think about innovation a lot through technology. We're talking a lot about AI, about big data, artificial intelligence, and these are true topics, but the reality behind that is you have people providing ideas, collaborating together, teaming up. Do you have any maybe words as a conclusion on this matter?
No, like I said earlier, Charles, I think there is a power of many that needs to be leveraged, and if we can harness that energy and then provide the right direction, magic can happen. So that's what I would call out.
Yeah, sure. And also maybe that it's sometimes we say the journey is the destination, but here the journey and the destination, they really mix together, because you're innovating, because people work together, they ideate, and they go even further together. And then the destination, which is launching a new product on the market, is still very important for you guys. So you're really reuniting talent and innovation, collaboration, and technology, and launching new products, which is once again really, really amazing. So we are reaching the end of the discussion and webinar today. Thank you everyone for attending. It's been really great sharing all that insights with you. Thank you for your questions. If you want to know more, and if you want to see the replay of the webinar, it will be available on our website. So you just have to connect to get.agorise.com/resources. You will access the recording. You will be able to see the slides again. And of course, if you have more questions for us, feel free to connect, feel free to contact us through LinkedIn, through social networks, or through our website. Thank you, Sachin, for participating. Happy, to be launching new adventures with you again in the future. And
thanks a lot, Charles. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I hope the attendees got something out for their own benefit.
Sure. And we will be very glad to. And everyone be safe wherever you are. Strange times, hard times. So be safe, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
you.